Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about proper cantilever. We have statically indeterminate beams in our syllabus. So in that particular topic we have proper cantilever beams, shear force and bending moment diagram for this particular proper cantilever beams, and we also have fixed beams. Those are comes under statically indeterminate beams, and as well as continuous beams. So these three kinds of statically indeterminate beams we are going to discuss in statically indeterminate beams, right? So today's content we are going to solve. We are going to discuss about briefly about what is proper cantilever and what is statically indeterminate beams, basically determinate and indeterminate differences, and analysis of proper cantilever with UDL as well as a point load on it, and the calculation of prop reaction, how do we calculate, and how to draw shear force and bending moment diagrams. Right. So first of all, what is degree of static indeterminacy? Here, to start with the, so let us first discuss about what is axis. Even though we have a clear idea, let us recall first what is an axis of the member. Let us say this is a member. Now, when you consider a right side half centroid, when you take a cross section of this member, and this is the center of gravity, let us say CG, and similarly this is a centroid of cross section on the other hand. And let us discuss about axis first. So axis means it is an imaginary line passing through centroids of each and every cross sections, like this. Okay, so when you consider a line, any line which is passing through the centroids of all cross section, that means if you consider anywhere within the beam cross section, let us say this is again one of the cross section. Here also it must pass through centroid of this cross section. So like this, if you take an infinite number of cross section, the line, imaginary line which is passing through the all those cross sections is nothing but the axis of the member, right? Why we are discussing here axis of the member means we have to understand what is beam first. Okay, so this is axis. When you apply a load along the axis, let us say like this, along the axis, it is called axial load. But when you apply a load perpendicular to the axis, something like this is called a lateral load, or that means when you project this particular load onto the axis, it will be exactly 90 degrees or right angles over here. Similarly, if you apply somewhere any other load perpendicular to the axis, these are all called lateral loads. Okay, and these are called axial loads. I'll write uh, AL in short form, axial load as well as lateral load. Okay, so these a structural member, when it is subjected to axial load, it is called a beam, and it must be sufficiently long and supported along its length. Those are all another condition. The main point is axis, lateral load must be there on the member. Okay, right. A beam may be horizontal, generally it is horizontal, but it may be in the inclined direction also, right? So before talking about a static indeterminacy, let us discuss about types of supports. Okay, so here we have a roller support, and to be discussed with the first one. Let us say this is a beam, and we have a roller support, something a ball like arrangement exactly below this, and we have a normal surface like this. So this is a roller support, and we generally represent with a free body diagram, right? Free body diagram, that means this line represents a beam, and this force arrow represents a force or reaction, that is normal reaction to the support perpendicular to the support of this roller, right? This is a roller support, and similarly we have a hinged support. So wherein if you take this is as a beam, then hinge will be something like this, like this. Okay, so here it is pinned at this particular point. If you see, it is pinned at this particular point. That means you cannot move either in vertical direction or in horizontal direction from this particular joint. However, you can rotate this member along this particular joint in any direction. Okay, so here if you want to represent in free body diagram, it will be like this. A line represents the beam, and a vertical arrow represents a vertical reaction, and horizontal arrow represents a horizontal reaction. So here if you observe for rollers, unknown reactions or unknown reactions totally, if you consider, for roller it is 1, but for hinged joint, for the hinged joint it is 2. Okay, so two number of unknowns we have, particularly for a hinged joint, right? And if you consider a fixed support is something like this. This particular member is completely inserted into the wall like thing. Okay, right. So here it is like this. Now we represent in free body diagram fixed support something like this, right? So this means we have a vertical reaction over here, similarly horizontal reaction. Also we have a moment rotation reaction or moment over here. Like this we have three unknowns in case of a fixed support beam, fixed support, right? So number of unknown reactions for roller support we have one. Number of unknown reactions for roller support we have one, and for hinged support we have two unknowns, and similarly for fixed support we have three unknowns. Yeah. So here let us say we have a cantilever beam. So we know, I think we know the types of beams: cantilever beam, simply supported beam, overhang beam, okay, and proper cantilever, fixed beam, continuous beam, all those. So if you consider first one, cantilever beam, so here we have a fixed support at one end and free at other end. That means we know from previous discussion just now, at fixed support we have three unknowns, whereas at free end we will have a zero unknowns. So total together, if you add those two, 3 plus 0 will be equal to 0. So this is unknown, number of unknown reactions. Okay, whereas we have equilibrium equations, so that is three numbers again: sigma h is equal to 0, and sigma v is equal to 0, and also we have sigma m is equal to 0, right? Sorry. So three number of unknown reactions over here and three number of unknown equations. So we can calculate all the unknown equations in case of a cantilever beam. Therefore, it is said to be a statically determinate beam. Similarly, let us erase this. If you consider a simply supported beam, sorry, if you consider a simply supported beam, At simply supported beam will have a hinged support at one side, and on the other side we will have a roller support, and for roller we have one unknown, and for hinged support we have two unknowns. Total 2 plus 1 is nothing but 3, and again as equilibrium equations are also 3, this is also a statically indeterminate beam. And let us also consider about overhang beam. Again at overhang beam we have one of the support as a hinged one and the other as roller. The other two ends are left free, that means no support. Again you have 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1, that is 3 number of unknowns, whereas we have equilibrium equations also 3. So therefore this also can be calculated, I mean, can be unknown reactions can be determined using equilibrium equations. So these three whatever we discussed till now, cantilever beam, simply supported beam, as well as overhanging beam, those three are statically determinate beams, right? Now let us talk about statically indeterminate beams. Let us say in some special cases cantilever beams, let us say this is a cantilever beam. Cantilever beams are connected or supported with any one support, any one roller along its length. This is for to resist excessive deformation in particular requirement cases. So here this beam is called propped cantilever, and we are actually today's topic is entirely dependent or discuss. We are going to discuss in detail about this only. So let us see whether propped cantilever is a static beam, statical determinate beam, or indeterminate beam. Right? One of the support is fixed support, and we know for the fixed support we will have a 3 number of unknowns, and the other is roller, and hence you have a one unknown reaction. And here if you observe these two, total number of unknown reactions for a propped cantilever beam is 4, whereas we have only three number of equilibrium equations. So simply 4 minus 3 will give you 1. So that means propped cantilever beam is statically indeterminate of first degree. Indeterminate of first degree, that means extra one equation is required. You can observe over here number of unknowns are 4, but only equilibrium equations are only 3. That means 4 unknowns and 3 equations you cannot solve using 3 equations. Therefore one more equation is needed to calculate the other missing or other unknown reaction. Therefore that unknown reaction, sorry, that reaction, sorry, that equation is actually determined by the determined from the compatibility condition. That means deflection. Based on deflection and slope equations we are going to find out that particular extra equation. So that is the idea. Until now let us limit our discussion to statically whether it is determinate or indeterminate. Right? We have just now seen propped cantilever beam is a statically indeterminate beam of a first degree, to be specific, of a first degree. Now let us go to the fixed beam. Right? This is a fixed beam with both ends as fixed. Over here, wait, we are drawing, yeah. Now with both ends as fixed, we know at both ends as there are fixed, and we have 3 unknowns, namely horizontal reaction, vertical reaction, as well as a moment reaction. Now 3 plus 3 we have 6 number of unknown reactions, right? 6 number of unknown reactions. But we know that equilibrium equations only 3, that is sigma h is equal to 0 or sigma fx is equal to 0 and sigma v is equal to 0. I'll write over here, yeah, sigma h is equal to 0, okay, and similarly sigma v is equal to 0 and sigma m is equal to 0. Right? Sigma h is also called sigma fx is equal to 0, and sigma v, sigma fy is equal to 0, and sigma mz is equal to 0. These are the 3 equilibrium equations for 2D conditions, 2-dimensional condition. And here total number of unknowns are 6, but we have only 3 number of equilibrium equations. Therefore the difference is 3 again. So that means fixed beam is a statically indeterminate beam of third degree. Okay. Similarly, if you want to calculate the static indeterminacy of a continuous beam, let us say. So here continuous means it must be supported on more than two supports. Like this, we have a discussion from cantilever, right? In cantilever we have only one support, that is fixed support, other is left free. Similarly, in case of simply supported beam, we have two supports. First one is hinged and the second one is roller. And similarly, even overhang beam will also same two supports, hinged and fixed, other two are left free. Coming to proper cantilever beam, we have again two supports, one is fixed and one is roller. And fixed beam also we can observe two joints are fixed. Now continuous beams, so till now we have either one support or two supports, but in continuous beams supports are more than two. That means if a beam is supported on more than two supports, it is a continuous beam. And then all the supports must be fixed, all the supports must be roller. So like this we have different options. All the supports cannot be roller. So simply if you apply horizontal load, the complete beam can slide away. So that is not the structure as a whole. So therefore, let us say this is a continuous beam, and over here let us say if you have two roller supports along with a fixed support. Now let us consider this particular case. So over here we have three unknown reactions as it is a fixed support. And similarly, at roller support we have one reaction, again at one more roller you have one. 3 plus 1 plus 1 total, it is yeah 3 plus 1 plus 1 total, it is 5, right? But we have only three equilibrium equations, therefore 5 minus 3 is 2. So therefore this particular continuous beam is indeterminate of second degree, right? All the continuous beams cannot be of second degree. It depends on the number of supports. Continuous beam may have up to 3 4 5 n number of supports. So based on their support number here, indeterminacy, static degree of indeterminacy varies. Okay. So I think till now we have clearly understood what is statical indeterminacy. So let us take now the degree of static indeterminacy of a beam or a member of a structure can be defined as the number of unknown forces, unknown reaction, I would say, unknown forces in excess of the equations of static equilibrium. So that means in excess how many are required. That is called degree of static indeterminacy. The unknown forces may be support reactions or the forces in the members. If that is the case, generally we have support reactions as the unknown reactions, right? Degree of static indeterminacy of beams, proper cantilever beams, fixed beams and continuous beams. So these are all we have just now discussed. And yeah, proper cantilever will have a four unknowns because we have seen just now support fixed support 3 plus roller 1 total 3. And similarly, therefore proper cantilever beam is said to be statically indeterminate to first degree. Yes. Similarly, we will take up the second one, fixed beam. Total number of unknowns is 6, 3 at each fixed support. So therefore 3 plus 3 6. And conditions of static equilibrium always 3, sigma h is equal to 0, sigma v is equal to 0 and sigma m is equal to 0. Therefore the fixed beam is said to be statically indeterminate of third degree. Similarly, continuous beam. So for this particular case here he has taken three supports wherein one of the support is hinged and the other two are roller. So 2 plus 1 plus 1 total 4 in this particular case, something like this I'll draw over here. Yeah, hinged support at some point and roller support at the other two ends. Okay, one more, let us say over here like this, we have a hinged support and a roller support. So therefore 2 over here plus 1 here, 1 here, and total is 4. Conditions of static equilibrium for two dimensional, it is only 2 3. So therefore 4 minus 3, again it is indeterminate of first degree for this particular continuous beam only. Otherwise if you take a different end condition, different supports and different number of spans, then obviously you will have a different degree of static indeterminacy, right? Now, what is a proper cantilever beam? So by this time you have clearly understood. In case of cantilevers, a beam or a beam, some support other than the existing ones may have to be propped to reduce the excessive deformations or amount of bending moment. This additional support provided nothing but a prop. Provision of prop makes the structure indeterminate, and the property cannot be analyzed by the simple static equilibrium equation, that is sigma h is equal to 0, v is equal to 0 and m is equal to 0, and therefore additional equations are obtained from considerations of slope and deflection are used to analyze for the structure, right? So here, having said this slope and deflection, so to discuss this particular proper cantilever beam, either to calculate the reactions or to draw the bending moment further, we have to have a minimum knowledge on deflection of beams also. Deflection of beams, we need to have a, how to calculate the deflections of a cantilever beam. Then only from those slopes and deflections only you are able to calculate the prop reaction for this particular proper cantilever beam. Once we have calculated reaction of a proper cantilever beam and having substituted that value, it is just as equivalent as a cantilever beam subject to upward point load. Then you can easily calculate the shear force diagram as well as a bending moment diagram. So that is the idea. The proper cantilever beam, entire calculation of shear force, bending moment, everything is same except that prop reaction has to be derived from the equating that deflection of cantilever beam. So right, let us see the procedure, how do we calculate the reaction of a prop. Now consider a cantilever beam of AB carries a UDL, over here. Let us say this is the diagram. Now AB is a cantilever beam. Cantilever beam AB carries a UDL of small w kilonewton per meter over its entire span and propped at B as shown in the figure. So this is a figure, a cantilever beam with fixed support over here over a length of L, I would say L, small l, span L, and subjected to UDL over its entire length, and at the other end B a prop or a roller support, that is prop is provided. Now, yeah, prop reaction can be obtained by the following procedure given below. So this is a procedure to calculate or obtain prop reaction. First one, imagine a prop is removed and calculate the deflection of free end B as shown in the figure. Like this, let us say this prop is removed. What happens? Due to cantilever action, when it is subjected to a UDL or a point load, what will happen? It will try to deflect downwards. It will try to, and I would say in simple terms, it will try to bend towards down. Deflect, actual technical term is deflection. Deflection is actually, by definition, it is the amount by which it is deviated from its mean position or initial position without loading condition. By self weight also you will have a certain deflection, but is a very minute deflection that will we generally do not see. But okay, let us say it is not, self weight is neglected and it is loaded with a uniform load throughout the length, and with the effect of this, when you remove this prop, let us say it has deflected by some yb. This is the amount of deflection at b when you remove the point load, right? Now imagine the prop is to be introduced at B, now which will exert an upward pressure B equal to the reaction of the prop as shown in figure, and it will cause an upward deflection of the beam at the prop reaction. Now actually, let us consider one more case. In this figure it is not given correctly, I will draw over here. Let us say this is a proper cantilever beam. Okay, it has subjected to a UDL kind of thing. This is a prop. Now this will be equal to a prop, a simple cantilever subjected to UDL and as a result of this it will try to bend like this. Place. Let us again consider a cantilever beam which is having only a point load which is upwards, that is prop reaction P, and then what happens, you will see it will try to deflect upwards like this, like this. Okay, let us say this is delta up downwards, right, d delta d, and let us say this is delta u upwards. Okay, now what happens, due to combination of these two, actual deflection will be like this over here. Yeah, it is given already as a effect of, as a result of these two conditions, having a prop reaction and also having applied a UDL, then actual deflection profile will be like this, like this. Okay, so that means zero deflection over here. Okay, so from this we have a equation. At final result deflection is to be 0, but we have downward deflection due to load and upward deflection due to prop, and simply by adding these two we must get 0. When you observe this, you know that delta d plus delta u, when you add those two it will be equal to 0. That is actually the required equation, right? Now, by equating downward deflection due to the load and upward deflection due to the prop reaction, the reaction of the prop is find out like this. So, for analyzing a proper cantilever, a number of methods are there, but method of consistent deformation is quick and simplest, and therefore this is adopted. Okay, now let us solve some problems on proper cantilever beams. Let us say this is a simple W. Values are not numerals, it will be given in terms of L and W only for this particular case. A cantilever beam AB of span L, which is fixed at A and propped at B, it carries a point load of W kilonewton at its midspan. Find the reaction of the prop and also draw the shear force and bending moment diagram. I have already told you shear force and bending moment drawings as simple. First you need to calculate the prop reaction. Once you have calculated the prop reaction, it is to draw the shear force and bending moment diagram. It is as simple as to draw the shear force bending moment of a cantilever beam. So based on this discussion, it is something like this. We have a cantilever beam AB and having point load W at its midspan. Right. I'll draw over here now. I'll draw over here. Yeah, we have a cantilever beam. Sorry, let us erase this. We have a cantilever beam with the prop at end, and exactly at middle we have a W point load. Okay, so this is L by 2 and this is also L by 2. This is the end A and this is end B. Something like this. Anyhow, we have a diagram in the next page also. Right. Let us first find a deflection, downward deflection, I would say, downward deflection due to W at the free end. And this is a formula, right. So here you need to have a formulas, all those formulas and fingertips for cantilever beam when it is subject to point loads at midpoint or point loads at end point, and cantilever beam subject to UDL throughout. Similarly, point cantilever beam subject to UDL to certain distance from the fixed support. So all for all these four standard cases, 4 or 5 standard cases, you need to have all the deflection formulas on the fingertips. Or deflection formulas have to be memorized. Then only you are able to calculate prop reaction quickly. Otherwise, again you need to derive. Right. So this is a formula. When you have an eccentric point load, formula is given by W into A square by 3A plus W into A square by 2A into L minus A. Right here, A is given as L by 2, and therefore L minus A will also be L by 2. So W A cube by 3I, A is L by 2. Similarly, W A square by 2A, A is L by 2 into L minus A, L minus L by 2, again L by 2. And when you simplify this, it will get 5 WL cube by 48 EI. I hope up to here you are clear. Now downward deflection is calculated. Next step is to calculate upward deflection due to prop reaction. 1 minute. Yeah. Right. Upward deflection due to a prop reaction. Again, it is just like a cantilever beam when it is subjected to a point load at the free end. But the point load is acting in the reverse direction, opposite to the gravity, upwards direction. Now what happens when a point load applied on the cantilever beam? What is the deflection formula? It is WL cube by 3I, and in this particular case, in place of W we have P. That is the only difference. So therefore PL cube by 3EI. And here, based on these two deflections, we need to have a equation. By equating above two equation, 5WL cube by 48EI is equal to PL cube by 3EI. Now when you equate L by 3, L by 3 gets cancelled, EI gets cancelled, and therefore, yeah, 3 will come, 3 16s are, so therefore 5 by 16 times W. So this is the prop reaction. So like this we have to calculate the prop reaction. Hope it is clear. So coming forward, okay. So here prop reaction is calculated, and then reaction at support A, right? This can be calculated using prop reaction. We have two supports. One is at support A, and one is prop reaction. And to calculate support reaction at A, vertical reaction at A, we need to equate sigma V is equal to 0, right? When you apply sigma V is equal to 0 over here, sum of vertical forces, total downward force is W, whereas total upward forces is we have 5 by 16 W, that is P, and some reaction at A. Therefore simply difference of these two is the reaction at support reaction at A. Similarly, yeah, shear force diagram, right? So this is a diagram. You can draw the shear force diagram. We'll start from here, upward reaction 11 by 16 W, just like this. And sorry, yeah, upward deflection like over here, sorry, upward reaction over here, and from this we have no load, therefore it is constant up to here, and there we have a direct load of W. So simply 11 by 16 W plus W will give you minus W will give you 5 by 16 W at this particular point, and from B to C we have no load, it will be constant up to here, and again at this particular point we have a prop reaction of 5 by 16 W. So when you give 5 by 16, it will exactly reach this particular point, initial point. So this is nothing but a shear force diagram for this particular propped cantilever beam. Now this is a bending moment diagram we are going to discuss in detail. Now bending moment at B is 0. At B exactly it is 0, because at free end we always have bending moment equal to 0. Now bending moment at C, when you 1 minute. Yeah, bending moment at B is 0. and bending moment at C, when you calculate, it is P multiplied by this much distance, L by 2 distance. Okay. Right. So 5 by 16 W into L by 2, that is 5 by 32 times WL. Similarly, we can also calculate bending moment at A, and that is right, bending moment at A. So here bending moment at A is equal to this particular point load multiplied by total distance L, which is creating a counterclockwise movement about A, whereas W at the center multiplied by this distance L by 2, which will create a clockwise movement about A, and therefore difference of these two, right? You can see over here 5 by 16 is W is nothing but prop reaction multiplied by L minus W is point load multiplied by L by 2, and you can simplify it is 3 by 16 times WL, that is moment at A. Okay, and to find position of point of contraflexure, so let us recall what is point of contraflexure. So it is a point where bending moment actually is 0 or curvature changes, um, right? So it is a point where bending moment is exactly 0. So we are going to write the general equation for bending moment in terms of x, and we'll make it equal to 0, and thereby we'll simplify for, we'll solve for x. Like, we have consider somewhere here a section like this, somewhere here a section where the bending moment is 0. Therefore let us say this particular distance is x from the right end, right? So now 5 by 16 into W into L minus x, right, sorry, right here it is assumed that this is x, and total length is L, therefore this distance is L minus x, isn't it? This distance is actually L minus x. So therefore 5 by 16 WP multiplied by L minus x, which acts in the counterclockwise direction, and W into L by 2 minus x, which acts in the L by 2 minus x, which acts in the clockwise direction, therefore minus is equal to 0. And when you separate these items and separate these terms and simplify for and when you solve for x, you will get the x value over here. It was written over here 3 by 16 WL by W. So therefore 3 by 16 WL into 16 by 11 W, and finally 3 by 11 times L. Therefore point of contraflexure occurs at a distance of 3 by 11 times 3 by 11 times L from A, or 8 by 11 times L from B. So this is how we are going to calculate the bending moment and shear force diagram. Then how to draw the bending moment diagram? Again, we have three set of values, at B it is 0, at C 5 by 32, and at A it is 3 by 16 WL. Okay, so here what happens, also we need to discuss about a variation of a bending moment, right? By observing shear force diagram, variation of bending moment can be determined. Let us say we have a constant shear force, and then in bending moments we have a linear variation. But when you have a shear force linear variation, then we have a parabolic variation in bending moments. Like this, we have uh, the basics. Therefore from that, as shear force is constant from this, and it must be a linear variation over here, and similarly this is also constant, therefore linear variation over here. Okay, right. So like this we need to draw the bending moment diagram and shear force diagram for these particular cases. Right, let us recall what is we have learned today so far. So these are the contents. I think all those are covered, but only one problem is taken. Hope to cover in the next class all the other problems. This is a content we have talked about static redundancy, and before that we have taken some basics, that is what is axis and what is axial load, what is lateral load, and what is mean by beam, what are the different supports we have, and for each support what are the unknown reactions, and how many number of unknown reactions for each kind of support. Then we have taken number of sub beams, types of beams, starting from cantilever, simply supported beam, and overhanging beam, and then we have moved to the proper cantilever beam, fixed beams, and continuous beam. Wherein these three listed over here, proper cantilever beam, fixed beams, and continuous beam, are statically indeterminate beams because they have number of unknown reactions more than static equilibrium equation. That means when you apply static equilibrium equations alone, you cannot determine the all unknown reaction in case of these particular proper cantilever beam, fixed beam, and continuous beam, and therefore additional equations are required. And we have also discussed that those whatever required additional equations can be obtained from slope and deflection equations, right? And like a example we have taken proper cantilever beam, what is the degree of static indeterminacy, and for a continuous beam what is degree of static indeterminacy, and also for a fixed beam what is degree of continuous degree of indeterminacy. And this is the procedure for calculating reaction of prop. We need to just equate a downward deflection due to particular load and upward deflection due to prop, and thereby by equating those deflections, that is nothing but compatibility condition. Those equating those deflections, you are going to find out the prop reactions. And once a prop reaction is calculated, and then from there it is just a simple for a cantilever beam, you consider that as an upward load. Prop reaction is considered as an upward load, and you can start the uh, calculation of shear force and bending moment at various salient points, and thereby by simply drawing values at all those points and drafting, you will get the shear force as well as bending moment diagram. And obviously you can also determine the contraflexure, point of contraflexure, either by equating moment at zero or from similar triangles also you can calculate, right? Hope you understand this lesson, and we're going to continue in the next class for the further details. Okay, thank you very much.